happening, HD Nation? Hey, Zack Edwards here for another Minisode Monday, Stump the Creator. So this time, Trace is going to try to stump me. He's continuing a question that he started up last month. It was sometime last month. But this one is still on Guy Fawkes. So he's trying to find all the different intricacies of Guy Fawkes. And I've got one that I really want to tell you. By the end of this video, I'm going to figure out if I want to tell you the combination that my son came up with. I don't know if I've mentioned it yet, so I'm going to try to, I might mention it this time. We'll see if I remember and if I'm willing to do it, because it's a pretty good combination. That has to do with Guy Fawkes and also another card in the set. Maybe you guys already know it. Maybe I'll let you try to experience it and then I can bring it up later. We'll see. So anyways, the email is, all right, I'm going to try again on Guy Fawkes. What if Guy Fawkes is on a land where the atomic bomb is played against? The atomic bomb is played against. The atomic bomb says to discard all cards on one of your opponent's lands, and it is rendered uninhabitable. Because it is uninhabitable, it cannot be attacked or taken because you cannot place a character in an empty land. So, what happens if to Guy Fawkes? The card does say the land is uninhabitable. Since the land does not change hands, he is not discarded. But does he live in an uninhabitable land? So, I told you that we were doing the after-school activities. One of the after-school activities of playing Historical Conquest at the public schools, they actually came up with this question. They said, how do I get rid of Guy Fawkes? They wanted to get rid of him, and they were willing to do almost anything to get rid of him. Actually, it was because of that combination I mentioned. So I actually told them to change hands. The land actually has to become uninhabitable, because you can only own a land if you have someone in there. Otherwise, and I think it actually said this, it might have been in the last rules, but it might have been the rules before. I think it's still in this one. Again, I didn't read the email, so I didn't have the rules out with me. But it says that you actually have to have someone in there in order to claim it as yours. Otherwise, it's called Limbo, where nobody owns it and anyone can claim it. That's right, so anybody can claim an uninhabited land. All you need, if you're claiming an uninhabitable land, is you need a single person from the same continent to basically move inside. It's basically like if they were doing a journey and traveled right into that. And it could be anybody. Anybody can travel from one country in a continent to another country in the same continent. That can happen once a turn. To transport outside of a continent, you need an explorer. But in addition to that, you also need to know that if you don't have anyone in that land, it's not considered yours. Not unless you have someone setting a stake in there, basically claiming it for you. So much like when you see the old movies of the ships coming in, somebody stepping on the land, I claim this in the name of Spain. Well, they would actually do that, and they'd claim territories just by landing on the territory and then mapping it out. That's why people that were mapping were very important to the government, because they want to lay claim on a certain part of that new land. And yes, of course, it could be conquered, it could be taken over, but as soon as they were able to record it, it was considered theirs. So Spain would they couldn't consider all of America, everything that was on that land, to be theirs, but everything that they had mapped out up to someone else's territory. And of course, those weren't very well marked, because you record them in your country, you don't record them somewhere else. So there was a lot of questions when it came to that. So, sorry, a little rant there. But, so in order to claim a country card, a land card, you actually have someone in there. Otherwise, nobody owns it. So in order to get rid of Guy Fawkes, so to change hands, changing hands, and I can make this in the new rules. I can digitally change that if we need to. By taking everyone out of that land and putting that land as Limbo, You can remove Guy Fawkes. You have to remove everyone else though too. So all your people have to be discarded or transported to another land. And then remember, the transports are only supposed to happen after you play your 3 cards. So maybe in the new rules, in the 2.0 rules, you play all your cards and then you transport and then you can attack, or you can attack and then you can transport. Doesn't matter which with those two, attacking and transporting, they all both have to happen after the cards are played. So with that, unless it's an ability of a card, an actual like move a person, it actually says to do it immediately, then you have to move it immediately. But otherwise, besides that, transporting is afterwards. So if you take all your people out of a land and it becomes someone else's, or it becomes Limbo, you can't claim it right away. That means you have to wait one whole turn for someone else to be able to claim that land. They have full rights to claiming that land before you do, if you take everyone else out and put it into Limbo. Another way of doing Limbo is where you take any land that's not inhabited, minus the first 2 turns because no one can attack anyways, taking that Limbo card and placing it in the middle. Place it in the middle of all of the players. Because then everyone else knows that that one's in Limbo and I want to claim that land. I want to get that land. So it's really hard. You don't want to take people out of that land. If somebody attacks, here's another scenario. If somebody attacks a land, they only have 1 attacker. Well, remember, they have to move someone from the attacking land into that land to claim it. So one of the 2 lands are going to be empty if they only had 1 person in the land that was attacking. So because there's only 1 person, one of the lands is uninhabitable. So anyone can claim that land as soon as they can. So you can either walk someone from the same continent into that land. You can take an explorer and transport somebody to that land. Again, it does not have to be your land that you transport to. It can be somebody else's. So with that knowledge, to get rid of Guy Fawkes in an uninhabitable land, I guess the question would be the atomic bomb. It's uninhabitable for 3 turns. But the rules behind that is that the person that, so nobody can claim it. It's in Limbo, but it can stay in that person's land because that person gets 1 chance, 1 turn to fill that land up and inhabit that land before somebody else can try to lay claim on it. So the atomic bomb, that when it wipes out a land, that person, the 3rd round, it has to stop at the person that owns that land, and then they get 1 turn to fill that back up. And so, or with that, it's technically in Limbo because that person has 1 turn to do it, they can keep it in their area. They don't have to put it in the middle. But they have to remember, after 3 turns, everyone else can count. 1 turn, 2 turn, 3 turns. If they don't remember on the 3rd turn to fill that country up, boom, take it the next turn. But be ready to claim that it was more than 3 turns. In addition to that, when the atomic bomb is played, just a note, and I've mentioned this many times before, the atomic bomb has to stay in the active area for those 3 turns while it's active. While there's some sort of effect that's affecting the other lands, that land has to stay in the active area because it shows that that land is still, the effect is still in effect. The ability is still in effect. So I hope this answers that question. The last part of the question of the email was, since the land does not change hands, he is not discarded, but does he live in an uninhabitable land? Again, if it's in Limbo, which the atomic bomb would be in Limbo, or the land that the atomic bomb hit would be in Limbo, it has changed hands. It's nobody's hands. That's when a land becomes changed hands, which is a great opportunity for anybody else to lay claim on it. If you basically take all your people out of that land just to get rid of Guy Fawkes, you still have to wait 1 turn or 1 round before you can lay claim on that land. Anybody else can lay claim on that land, but the person that emptied it out, that's the risk of taking everyone out just to get rid of Guy Fawkes. But there are reasons for doing that, and that's the combination that I was talking about. So if you can think of the combination, you guys probably already know it. And maybe you don't want to tell more people about it. I know it's hard for me to tell people because it's an amazing combination that I didn't even think of when I put those cards together. My son actually figured that out. He's got one of those brains. And Josh, game on. We are willing to take you on team historical conquest games. Your son and you against my son and myself. Creator and son versus ambassador and son. Game on. So if you're taking that challenge, set up a time and we'll get to that. Thanks again for joining us on this Minisode Monday, Stump the Creator. It wasn't a stump, but it was a clarification of rules that needed to happen. So I'm glad that you did, and I will add this to the rules as soon as possible, because it does need to get clarified. That does need to be part of understanding about what limbo is, limbo of land. So thanks again for joining us. Thanks for the question, Trace, and we'll catch you next time. Take care. Bye. If you have any comments or questions, add them to the comments below. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow, actually. Take care. Bye.